Right, let's get stuck in because it might have just been a wee preseason friendly behind closed doors. But there's still plenty to chew over. Celtic took on Estrela da Amadora in Portugal. The fans in the stands game played at the Benfica campus, and honestly, if you blinked, you probably missed it. But I was up caught it, and I've got thoughts. Now folk would say, it's just preseason chill out, and fair, but still. When you're seeing new faces returning legends and young lads trying to make their mark, it's worth paying attention. Brendan Rodgers lined up the first half with a pretty strong 11 at least on paper. Seni Kazalo between the sticks. And let me just say the man is loud. Honestly, I thought it was the coaching staff shouting instructions at first, but nah, it was him bellowing with that crisp English accent stuff like left shoulder body booming across the park. You wouldn't dare ignore him, even if your name's Kieran Tierney. Speaking of Tierney, oh man, what a joy to see him in the hoops again. Even in a closed-door friendly, even with half the squad still knocking off rust the moment he got on. The ball, you felt it. That calmness, that directness, it's just pure class. And the wee link up with Days and Maida down that left flank tasty. They weren't fully synced yet, of course, but the glimpses we saw, that could be a huge weapon this season once they're up to a full tilt. Defensively, it was Ben McPherson at right back, Colby Donovan and Austin Trusty in the center with Tierney down the left. One wee moment stuck with me. During one of the many water breaks, Tierney and Trusty were having a proper natter. And it clicked. They both played at Arsenal, didn't they? Looked it up later, and they did share the pitch in a friendly against the MLS All-Stars. Might not seem like much, but that familiarity can matter, especially since those two might just be our strongest left-sided pairing at the back, at least for now. In midfield, it was Callum McGregor sitting deepest with Luke McCowan and Rio Hatare further forward. Hatare, by the way, looked brilliant. First game back or not, he brought control tempo, that vision we know he's got. Out wide, it was Marco Tilio. On the right, Maida on the left, and Callum O'Salmon up top. But let's talk set pieces, because once again, issue. Same as last season. We conceded a goal from a corner, and McPherson was the one whose man got away. But truth be told, the system just doesn't seem to work. It's all momentum and marking, and I don't know if it suits this group. I watched a few corners, and even before the goal, there was one where we just didn't look confident. Personally, I'd like to see us shift to a hybrid. Mix of zonal and man marking. Just something more structured. Because it's nay good having a defender chasing shadows every time the ball swings in. Also worth mentioning, we're still shaking off the rust. There were plenty of slack passes, heavy touches, daft decisions. Maida's still trying to get his sharpness back. But that's preseason, innit? It's not meant to be polished. The points building match fitness and slowly getting systems in place. What mattered to me was that wee spark you get when someone like Tierney touches the ball. Same buzz we had when Jota came back last season. That feeling of this lad can change a match. Even in a half-paced friendly, you could feel it. Now into the second half, and as expected, Brendan changed the full team. Ross Doohan went in goal, or Dewey, as McGregor affectionately called him. Ralston took over at right back Dane Murray, and Liam Scales formed the new centre-back pair, and Namura slotted in on the left. McGregor actually stayed on briefly, but was subbed off after 10-15 minutes for the young Sean McCardo. Now here's where things get real interesting. Sean McCardo, still just a teenager, but you can tell there's something there. Still raw, of course. He lost the ball a few times, looked a wee bit overwhelmed at points, but the awareness, the first touch class. Left foot's a wand, and he's got that sturdy low center of gravity look about him. The ginger hair, the black. Boots. Man was channeling full Barry Robson vibes. And let me just say, respect to the lad for wearing black boots in 2025. That alone earns him points. But back to the football. I've heard through certain ITK folk that Brendan Rodgers genuinely rates the kid. Apparently wants to use him throughout the season. No saying he'll start every week, but maybe 5-10 and maybe even 20 games. It speaks volumes that he was the only B-team attacker involved at the weekend. That suggests Brendan's looking at him seriously. And look, let's be honest. We've struggled for years finding someone who can give Callum McGregor a break. Every attempt, a Bill Guard McCarthy Itaguchi, fell short. Nobody's been able to oust McGregor from the 11. Man even came back on for the second half after we changed everyone else. So maybe the answer's right there. Let Sean McCardo be the deputy. Let him learn from the skipper, get minutes in the cups. Maybe even the odd league match. Why not? Elsewhere in midfield, we had Benjamin Nguyen making his debut and Arnie Engels alongside him. Out wide, James Forrest on the right, Hyung Yu Yang on the left, and Adam Ida leading the line. Second half wasn't quite as slick. No real surprise. We lost some control with Hatate and McGregor off. Tempo dropped. Structure faded a bit. That said, there was one cracking bit of play. The move that led Ty Ida's goal. Started by Nguyen, who drove forward with a decent wee burst of pace, not electric, but enough, then squared it brilliantly to Ida for the finish. Lovely bit of team play, real intent, and honestly, probably the biggest positive from the entire game. James Forrest, by the way, looked sharp. Might have even been our best performer of the second half. Did all the basics well showed experience. Kept the width and tracked back when needed. A proper shift. Now while Yang was on the park, let's talk about him. Word going round is that Norwich City are interested, and apparently Yang himself wouldn't mind exploring a move. Here's where I stand. I'd keep him. He showed big improvement in the second half of last season. Created more, got into better scoring positions. I'm not going to pretend he's a nailed-on starter. He's not Jota or even Daisen Maeda. But there's a player there. Maybe not a world beater, but someone who could still make an impact. But, and it's a big but, if the lad wants go, and if someone's offering decent money, say 3 million quid or more than maybe it's best for all parties. Thank him, wish him well, and move on. Anyway, back to the game. We lost. 3-2. Not the end of the world, but you'd think we've been humiliated in a Champions League final the way some of the Scottish press reacted. Honestly, the Daily Record compared the defeat to Celtic failing to channel the spirit of the Lisbon Lions. Imagine that. A closed-door preseason kickabout being treated like the apocalypse. It's daft. It really is. Brendan Rodgers, as expected, was calm about it. Said the workout was useful, the performance was mixed. Some good, some sloppy. Fair assessment. He knows it's about building towards the real stuff. And let's not forget, this was the first game back for many of the key players. It wasn't their third match of the summer, it was their first. They've had as much training time as McGregor had before facing Queen's Park, so you've got to cut them some slack. The second half was more disjointed, but that's not unexpected. It's preseason. You're rotating full 11s. It's more about conditioning and evaluations than results. Next up, we've got proper challenges. Sporting midweek, then Newcastle and Ajax. 3 sides already qualified for the Champions League. That's when we'll get a real sense of where we stand. Alright, let's get rolling with the rest of it, because while the game against Estrela da Amadora took up most of the attention, there's a fair bit else going on around Celtic Park just now, and there it's sunshine and rainbows. Transfers, injuries, contract chat. The usual summer chaos. Hey, let's start with Marco Tilio. Word came out the other night that Melbourne City are keen to bring him back either on loan or a permanent deal. Now, straight off the bat, I need to say I've no inside scoop here, even though I've done a bit of work with their media team for certain matches. Nothing I've heard suggests anything's imminent. But the interest's real, and it's a bit of a strange one because just a couple months back, Tilio did an interview where he spoke about wanting to establish himself in Europe. Didn't say it had to be a Celtic, but still, made it clear that heading back to the A-League wasn't exactly part of the dream. So if he goes back now even temporarily, it kind of tells you that things haven't gone the way he hoped. Maybe it's about playing time. Maybe he's just not settled. Who knows? But from Celtic's perspective, it's a wee bit frustrating. He's shown glimpses, had a hand in the first goal. Against Australia looked lively in spells. But has he made a real claim for a first-team place? Not yet. So maybe it is better for him to get regular minutes elsewhere. Just feels like we've had too many of these sorts. Young players brought in with hype and then just fade away. Same goes for Hyunjun Yang to an extent. We touched on him before, but it's worth digging a wee bit deeper. He came in with promised South Korean international raw talent. And while his first year and a half was mostly underwhelming, he did pick it up late last season. Started hitting the box more, linking up. Better started to look more confident on the ball. Still not a starter in my book, but he was at least making the case to stick around. But now interest from Norwich and seemingly from other English and European clubs too. And Yang himself open to the idea of moving. Look, if he wants to move, and if a decent offer comes in, you'll probably let him go. But it does highlight how much uncertainty we still have in those wide positions. Because let's not forget, Jota's out. And when I say out, I mean properly out. Brendan Rodgers gave an update that was as honest as it was grim. Jota's recovery from that ACL injury is going all right, apparently. He can straighten the leg now he's back in the gym. That's all good news. But Rodgers also made it clear, he's not coming back anytime soon. Say it outright that we can write him off for the rest of the calendar year. Maybe, just maybe, he's back in time for the Europa League quarterfinals, if we even get that far. But even then, he'll still be getting back up to speed. And that's the thing with these injuries. Even once they're recovered, it's another 2 or 3 months before they look like their old selves. So basically, we're talking next summer before we might see the real Jota again. That's brutal! And it just piles on top of the fact that we've already lost Koru to the Saudi League in January, and now Nicholas away too. That's 3 major attacking pieces from last season gone, and as of now, none properly replaced. We need reinforcements, and not just squad players. We need genuine first-team quality, particularly in the final third. Otherwise, all this talk about Brendan Rodgers being motivated about the team going far in Europe, it's just that talk. You don't replace Jota, Koru, and Nicholas with hope. You do it with signings. On the goalkeeper front, a quick word about Kasper Schmeichel. He didn't feature in the match against Estrella either, but nothing to worry about there. The explanation's simple. He only just came back to training last week. They're easing him in. Brendan said he'll get his first minutes against Sport in midweek, so we'll see how he looks then. But even at his age, even without match sharpness, the experience he brings could be massive. He talks constantly, commands his area, and still has plenty of quality. I'm all for that kind of character between the sticks, especially in Europe. Now then, we can't ignore the elephant in the room. Brendan Rodgers himself, his contract, or rather the lack of movement on it, The current deal runs out at the end of this season, which means unless something changes, this will be his last year in charge at Celtic. He was asked about it recently and gave the usual diplomatic answer, said there's been chats and meals shared with some of the higher-ups, but nothing concrete. No new deal signed, no indication of how close or far they are. And I'll be honest, I'm not panicking about it, but I do find it a wee bit odd. Celtic would surely want him to stay. The fans, even the skeptical ones, know his pedigree. So why not get it done early? Is it Rodgers himself who's hesitant? Maybe. Maybe he's waiting to see how the club backs him in his transfer window. Maybe he's looking at other opportunities. Or maybe as some suspect, he prefers the idea of 1-year rolling contracts. Gives him freedom without the commitment. Whatever it is, the thing to remember is, even if this is his final season, I don't think it'll affect his commitment. If anything, I'd argue it'll heighten it. Brendan Rodgers is obsessed with legacy. He wants trophies, he wants success. In Europe, he wants to leave Celtic on a high. That sort of drive bleeds into the players. They'll still run through walls for him regardless of what his contract says. But I get why it's a story, and it's not going away. The media will keep hammering it, especially if the team stumbles at any point. It'll be the narrative. Is Brendan distracted, or is his uncertain future holding Celtic back? But honestly, it's noise. The real issues, the ones that'll decide our season, are on the pitch. Do we bring in the right reinforcements? Do we fix our defensive frailties as set pieces? Do our new signings actually step up and contribute? That's what matters. Now just to wrap up the update, a wee personal note on Stevie. Folk have been asking where he's been, and I can tell you, he's alive, he's well, and he'll be back soon. Right now, he's taking it easy up in an island and enjoying the sunshine and the silence. Sending a wee video the other day looking out over the loch like some retired crofter reflecting on life. Says he'll be back in time for the real stuff when the season kicks off properly. And fair play, he never was one for preseason. Stevie doesn't do July. He does match days, rain frustration, full-time moaning outside Celtic Park. And we love him for it. So that's us for now. First preseason defeat, out the way, lessons learned, tweaks to be made, and a lot still to happen in the transfer market. The next few games are against big boys. Sporting, Newcastle, Ajax, all teams who will test us properly. We'll get a much clearer picture of where we stand after those. But what's clear already is the margin for error's gone. With Europe coming pressure building and the squad still incomplete, there's nae time to dither. Celtic need to move, and fast. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. There's a fresh buzz stirring around Glasgow, as whispers suggest that Celtic have secured the signing of Shin YAMADA for a reported fee of $1.5 million. Though nothing has been officially broadcast by the club yet, sources close to the matter hint at the arrival of the young Japanese striker, touted as the next big goal-scoring sensation to grace Scottish football. Shin YAMADA, just 20 years old, has been turning heads in the J-League for his clinical finishing and sharp movement in the box, earning him comparisons to some of Japan's finest forwards. Celtic fans are already buzzing at the prospect of a new matador arriving to boost the Hoops' attacking firepower. With a reputation for both speed and technical skill, YAMADA could be the kind of fresh spark Brendan Rodgers has been seeking to reinvigorate the squad this season. While the club has maintained a veil of secrecy, insiders claim that the deal, valued at around $1.5 million, represents a strategic investment in youth and potential. It's believed that Celtic are aiming not only to bring in a talented striker, but also to expand their appeal in the Asian market, where Japanese football continues to grow rapidly in popularity. The Hoops have long been known for tapping into emerging talents worldwide, and this signing would continue that tradition. The prospect of YAMADA adapting to Scottish football raises plenty of questions. Can he handle the physicality and pace of the Premiership? Will he quickly settle in a new country and culture? For now, these remain open questions, but optimism runs high. Reports suggest that the young forward possesses a determined mindset and strong work ethic, qualities that could help him thrive in the demanding environment of Celtic Park. Should this move go through as the rumor mills indicate, Celtic could be looking at a promising new chapter, blending their rich history with the exciting potential of a Japanese prodigy. The timing also fits perfectly with the club's ambition to compete fiercely both domestically and in European competitions. A $1.5 million gamble on a young striker might just pay off handsomely. As fans eagerly await official confirmation, social media is already alive with speculation, hopeful chants, and excitement. If Shin YAMADA truly arrives in Glasgow, the Scottish Premiership may soon witness a new kind of matador, swift, skillful, and hungry for goals. Whether he can become the Celtic hero, fans dream of remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, the buzz around this potential signing has already injected fresh energy into the season's narrative. Keep your eyes peeled, because the future might just be arriving on the wings of a Japanese forward. Hello, fan! Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.